More warnings this week that Joburg may be on the cusp of a major water crisis. That will literally mean much of the water infrastructure will simply stop working. News24 this week publishing data from an internal report explaining how Johannesburg Water doesn't have the money to conduct important maintenance. And as a result, systems are not getting the attention they need. As you know, so many areas around the country are dealing with these problems at the moment. Ravin Singh is a community activist in the Joburg Water Crisis Committee. Ravin, good afternoon to you. If this report is correct, and the city needs, and Joburg Water needs, a lot more money, and it's a huge amount of money to do this maintenance, and there is no money, are you expecting things in the city to get worse?
Good evening, Stephen. Stephen, I think, for us, we're not really shocked by what News24 has published. That information has been in the public domain in various documents and various presentations. What worries us is that a few weeks back, the mayor launched a strategy to address the water issues in Johannesburg. Now, for us, a strategy is based on available resources or a concrete plan to mobilize these resources. Otherwise, it's a wish list. So I'm not sure whether it was a slow news day, as you guys call it, in the media, but for us, it's not shocking information. It's information that has been in the public domain for quite some time. For us, the main issues is how do we get the city to function as a cohesive unit? There seems to be no integration between the road agency, development planning, Joburg Water, and other departments. Right? There's a lack of clear systems for repairs. There's ongoing blaming of residents for overconsumption. And I think we need to start focusing on the practical things that need to be done to address the issue. Right now, panic is starting to emerge about the 6 months shutdown, the necessary shutdown to repair or maintain the tunnel that brings in water from Lesotho. What is the city and Joburg Water doing proactively to address these issues?
There's so many things... Sorry, I interrupted you. Go on.
No, go ahead.
There's so many things that need to be done. You talk about coordination. Yes. And I mean, it seems in a way, I don't know if the city has explained publicly and displayed publicly that it understands how urgent this is, and that if it actually really realizes what needs to be done. Do you think the people in charge actually realize what needs to be done?
I think they realize in different pockets there's no cohesiveness coming out from the city. They need to sit down and learn to communicate better. Or if their plans are not aligned between the different departments, they need to ensure that they get these things done. And it's correct that you say it's critical for us is the issue of implementation. And throwing money at the problem is not necessarily the entire fix. I mean, how do they go ahead and use innovative technology to identify and fix leaks and other infrastructure challenges, especially in areas that are facing ongoing water cuts, right? How do we enhance the capacity of JW by recruiting Joburg Water, by recruiting and providing ongoing training of technical people? How do we ensure that there's an active maintenance program and a transparent rollout of pipe replacements and other infrastructure programs? You refer to that city, the News24 article. It talks about 24 billion or 23 billion that is required to fix these problems. Now, as citizens, we look at that amount and we say, yes, that money must be spent, we need to fix it. But there are other people also looking at that money, whether it's big business or small businesses who are interested in getting tenders and those kinds of things. It's fine, but are they going to deliver the kind of work that we need to ensure that the city has an ongoing and sustainable water supply? Or should the city be saying, what do we do to build capacity in Joburg Water? There are thousands of unemployed people who can be trained to get involved in maintenance, who can be brought into Joburg Water to assist with this problem and develop capacity in the city. We can't keep outsourcing everything that we need to do. They need to look at how they partner with the private sector to fix immediate problems, but they need to keep the development of Joburg water capacity in the long term in sight. How do we capacitate the state? How do we improve state capacity to deliver on this issue? We know it's election time, and we've stayed away from demonstrations and those kinds of things. We don't want to be accused of electioneering. We were accused by the mayor of saying that we wanted to do business with the city. We don't want to be accused now of electioneering. But we are waiting for the elections to be over, because we need to bring to the door of the city the problems that we are facing daily. For example, the areas that we live in face ongoing water problems. Why are we carrying the burden of water cuts or water shedding? We need answers to this. So we have a water can which will release in the next few days a more comprehensive response on the different areas that Joburg Water, the city of Joburg, needs to focus on to address the problems that we face. And I think this is an important initiative, because it's not stuck on just complaining. It's saying, what can we do to go forward? And I've looked at some of those ideas. They're very encouraging, and some of the simple things the city can do, despite the budget constraints, to improve the situation. And the great thing is that WaterCan is opening this up to broader civil society to also contribute and share their views and shape this particular document. Something the city is not doing, but we are doing as civil society.
Ravin, one of the things that worries me, and it seems that this is the sort of moment where we see civil society, you're trying to encourage businesses as well to be involved in this. If we miss this moment, right, and the city does not embrace, does not accept your proposals, and you're not able to work together with business and civil society and the city, what would happen is what's happened with the electricity. Business and rich people will try and buy their way out of the system. They'll just buy more and more tanks. Businesses will truck water in if they have to. And I mean, we laugh at that, but there's a massive poultry farm that does that in one part of this country, in the Free State. And so what that means is that the problem never gets fixed, because in many societies, and I think including ours, if the middle classes are able to buy their way out of a problem, then it's very hard for the poor to put enough pressure on government to fix it. And is that the risk? If we miss this moment, is that what could happen?
You know, I want to make it very simple. You know, you drive past some areas and you'll see people watering their lawns. And you'll see a sign that says, we are using borehole water. But that borehole water does not originate in your property, right? Middle class people and rich people are able to get boreholes. The poor can't, right? And as people go off the grid and find alternative means to get water and electricity, it means that you are destroying the capacity of the state to collect revenue that can be used to expand services in a sustainable way. And that's very worrying. The water resources underneath does not belong just to the rich, it belongs to everyone. But unfortunately, in situations like this, people will respond to meet their most basic of needs. And water is one of the most basic of needs that we have as humankind.
Thank you very much indeed, Ravin Singh. Really do appreciate the time from the Joburg Water Crisis Committee. So many conversations coming out of water at the moment.